Hiya Steve, super session in the week. Great to see you improve. Some fantastic comparisons towards the end of your session, particularly from down the line. Key aspect was, why were we translating back a little bit through impact? We were struggling with low point control, and we had a really high rate of closure and overtaking rate on the golf club through impact. So we're getting a lot of sort of great looking shapes that were aligned too much to the left, and the occasional one that was going a long way right. But we were also de-lofting driver a lot as we were coming through impact. So what we were noticing is from P4 to P7, the head was working back quite a lot and then continuing to work back through to P9. So as a result, we had a lot of sort of eye tilts and neck tilts going on. When viewed from down the line, that was dropping the club slightly under plane and then getting us to hit out at the golf ball excessively. With a tremendous steepening of the shoulders, a high exit and a high rate of closure on the club face at that point. So the first port of call was to talk about releasing the head. Rather than trying to keep the head down, the thoughts here were to try and keep the eyes on the ball. As a result, the head would start to release. That would allow the body to turn at a much better rate, controlling the path and the trajectory of the right shoulder. Added to that, to control the rate of closure on the club face, we're also going to feel like both arms are like steel rods coming through at P9. Now, did we get that? Not particularly, but we're moving towards that. And what we saw here now, we saw much better tilts, much less translation back at 7 through to 9. You can see the head now following through. And if we just take that swing and look at the eye tilts and the neck tilts at that point, completely different from face on. No translation back, shoulders turning on a much better plane. This is early in the piece. The overtaking rate on the club was still quite high, but this was towards the end of your session. No translation back, club lesson at 6, hitting out at the golf ball the appropriate amount rather than excessively, shoulders turning on a much flatter angle. And just look at the difference in the club face rotation as you come through. Night and day. So the key thoughts from the session were: release the head, follow the balls with the eyes, whichever way you want to look at that, and to keep the arms like steel rods coming through. When you did that, you controlled the path of the golf club, the low point of the golf club, and the closure on the club face much, much better. In regards to the driver, the first thing we did was put the hips more forward. As per Troy Mattison, we talked about putting that hip slide in there and creating that axis tilt before we started, and then looking to make more of a stable swing with less shift force rather than a centered swing requiring more hip slides. You can see the center of the shoulder turn nice and stable. We don't need to slide the hips as far forward anymore. There is a tendency with your longer clubs to keep translating back just a fraction, but the more you work on the follow through, controlling the arms, I mean, that's as good a finish as you've made, but the more you control the follow through, the more you control the arms, the higher you're going to hit the golf ball and the straighter you're going to hit it. Super session, and I'm loving that comparison on the far right hand side down the line. Absolutely superb. Everything about that is better on the bottom right. Keep up the good work, hammer that drill, and you're going to see a marked improvement in the way you hit a golf ball. Well done.